Hi, my name's Caroline McKinnell and I am a police chaplain with Avon and Somerset Police Force. I live in Wales, which you might know as the town that Hot Fuzz was shot in. Um, it's an interesting bit of the world because technically we're a city, but really we're just a rural market town. My route to becoming a chaplain really started with working as a part of the pastoral support team in a big secondary school. I used to be a teacher, but actually walking alongside the students and just being there for them was incredibly rewarding. A lot of it is just kind of walking very slowly at social times so that if a student chooses to, they can kind of sidle up next to you and start talking about maybe something that they want to share, maybe sometimes quite obliquely. But so that's where I started. I did a summer school in educational chaplaincy, a week-long course with Nigel a couple of years ago, and that really started me. I knew then that actually, being a chaplain was what I wanted to be. I got in touch with our chaplaincy coordinator in the diocese, had a really good conversation with him about what to do because I felt that as a qualified teacher, that there should be some sort of training involved. It felt really odd to me, having come from that sort of academic background, to just dive into it. So I did a postgraduate in chaplaincy. That was a year-long course, and that really, really helped, particularly with the language around chaplaincy, because it's quite a difficult thing to describe to people. So it really helped me explore that aspect and get into the real sort of day-to-day role. As part of my course requirements, I had to be in a context. So I shadowed the chaplain at Wells Cathedral School, which is an independent boarding school. And that was really amazing because it's being a boarding school, the students are there all the time. So there's a whole range of things going on, not just lessons and sports matches, but this is their home. A lot of the chaplaincy role there is around organising the school services. So the whole school has morning prayer on a Monday morning, and all the boarders have Boarders Cathedral on a Sunday evening. And yes, it does happen in Wells Cathedral. And yes, that's where I led my first ever morning prayer, which was a little bit scary. But, it's basically kind of school assembly. So as I mentioned, I'm in touch with the diocese chaplaincy coordinator. And so I'm part of their sort of network, and quite regularly we have network Zooms where you can just dip in and out with a cup of tea, chat with other chaplains in the diocese, and just explain what you're up to and sort of share good best practice. So I found my police chaplain role online. I just applied for it like any other job. I wasn't via the chaplaincy coordinator, and applied for the job and was recruited March 2021, so just a year ago. Quite a rigorous recruitment process, as I'm sure you can imagine. A lot of background checks, not just the usual DBS, but going into family members and their address history and that sort of thing. It's a volunteer role, but I am classed as police staff. I have a collar number and I have a ID card that says police partner on it. It describes me as force chaplain, which I really don't like that term. Sounds like I'm going to, I am going to force you to listen to me. So I just describe myself as, police chaplain. But that card will get me into any police station in the Avon and Somerset area if I need to. I am there to support the police staff and officers, not the victims or the suspects. I don't have anything to do with that side of police work, which is a good thing because I think there'd be a huge conflict of interests. So my daily routine or weekly routine really would be once a week I would go into the station. I cover 2 stations, Wells and Shepton. They're both completely different. Wells is just a neighbourhood team, so we've got 2 police officers and then about 10 PCSOs. And their role is very much community work. So at the moment, they are doing a lot of work outside the secondary school gates because of anti-vaxxers. They've just done a big sort of push on shoplifting in the high street. So that's really their role. They've got a very small block attached to the fire station, which is really just kind of one office room and then a little kitchen and a very small meeting room. Shepton Station is much bigger. They have the neighbourhood team, the response team, so they're the guys who respond to 999 calls, and everything urgent like that. And they also have the team that monitors sex offenders. Their station is above a Greggs, which always makes me laugh because it is totally true that the police like donuts. And what I see as part of my role is to just go in, always with some sort of biscuits or cake or box of chocolates or something. I go in once a week and just have a chat. I just kind of wander around the room, pardon me, and offering somebody a chocolate biscuit is a brilliant icebreaker, because they'll either have one, or if they won't, then there's an opportunity for a bit of banter there about their fitness regime and that sort of thing. And we tend just to have a natter. It's about sort of building up that relationship between me and them. They've got, both stations have got my contact details on the notice board. And so what tends to happen is the weekly visits are really just a kind of reminder that I'm here for them, chance to have a chat, gives me a chance to sort of catch up on what's going on, what sort of week the station has had, if they're under any particular pressures that week. And then if one of them would like to talk more, then we either meet off duty in a coffee shop, or they can come to my house, or I can go to theirs, wherever they feel most comfortable. So a recent case study was, sadly, we had quite a violent murder in Wells, and I went down that night to the crime scene, because I knew that our neighbourhood, this was in Wells, so I knew the neighbourhood officers would be stuck on the crime scene tape, just kind of like a security guard. And that's really difficult for them because they're then not doing what they're meant to be doing. You know, the jobs are still coming in on the system and they're just standing there like a security guard. Had a really good chat with the officer there and established that one of my other officers was quite closely related to the victim. And that was really good to find out. This was quite late at night, so the next day I went into the station, and it was chaos. It's a small room. We had major crimes there. We had the firearms guys there who, honestly, I swear they only recruit people that are 9 foot tall. We had in detectives and all sorts of people just milling around. And at the same time, the neighbourhood team have still got the jobs coming in on their system of, you know, there's been a dispute between neighbours, or can you pop up the school because, you know, somebody's suspected of having drugs on them, or all those everyday things that their role is, was completely thrown out of kilter by all these other visiting teams. And it's quite, you have to be quite brazen to just let yourself into a police station and have the confidence of actually, I'm allowed to be here. I'm one of you. I use a wheelchair, so I'm quite distinctive. And I have no qualms about accidentally driving over a firearms officer's foot. Shouldn't have been in the way. So yes, I went in the next day and had a little chat with this officer who was related to the victim. And luckily, we were able to go through into the fire station and find a quiet space there. And so we had a cup of tea. It was an opportunity for her to explain how this incident was affecting her, what her relationship was. I think her biggest anxiety was that the night before, she and her colleague were driving on duty past the victim's house, saw the victim in their front garden, stopped to chat with them, see if they were okay. And she felt she would have stayed there longer. She would have maybe got out of the car, gone into the victim's house. But it's a very, very narrow lane and traffic was building up behind them. So they had to leave. And her regret was, could she have done something about it? Would it have made a difference if she'd been able to go in? Should they have found a parking space and gone back? Now, rationally, from what information we had, it wouldn't have made a difference. What happened would have happened anyway, and it was much later on. But of course, this officer felt, if only. So the conversation was a lot about reassurance, listening to how she felt, validating her feelings, that it was absolutely fine to feel the way she did, that, you know, she should own that feeling. And just letting her talk for as long as she wanted to. I let her lead me there in that instance, because obviously she knew what workload she had. Didn't matter to me. So she just talked for as long as she needed to. And then from a practical point of view, I asked her if she wanted me to let her colleagues know, not all of detectives and everybody else milling around, but her colleagues in the station. And she wanted me to, because she was visibly upset. And I think she just wanted to get her head down, get some work done, and perhaps not have to go and stand on the crime scene tape again or anything like that. So with her permission, I went and spoke to the manager, the team manager, and that was really good. She was really understanding, and everybody supported her. So that's kind of it, really. I'm more than happy if Nigel wants to give you my contact details, my email address. If you have any questions, just give me a shout.